Welcome back to Real Questions. We are excited to see you again. I am Mandy,
And I'm Wynell.
and we're going to talk about who are you really?
Who are you really?
Who are you?
And beyond this online persona that
Mhm.
everybody keeps seeing, isn't it? So this is truly a good topic
Yeah.
because even it's more relevant than ever about the disconnect between who you are in person and who you are online.
Yeah, absolutely. And this whole episode, Wynell and my passion really is about being real and allowing a space for people in the church, especially, to be real. Like, let's talk about real topics. And you can't get more real than social media, online. I mean, that's as real as it gets for our
And is that who
generation.
you are really, or is this who you are really?
Yeah.
So, they say that there truly is right now a disconnect between your online identity and your authentic self. So, even the professionals are saying that there is a true disconnect about that. In fact, there's a whole thing of your online person versus a highlight reel. The fact that you're constantly all about the little short videos and the pictures you're putting out, the latest thing that you did, the latest people you hung out with, who you got to be with, showing these things off. So it's how authentic are you really being, even online as you are in person, or are you trying to invent a person that you would like to be?
Yeah.
Are you also looking at what everybody else is doing, thinking that you're falling behind and this is what you have to do to keep up?
What really comes to mind when we're talking about this, I know we're going to be talking about online personas, but I think about Hollywood. I think about all the people in Hollywood and all of the pictures I see online. They all look the same now. The same cheekbones, the same lips, the same eyebrows. I'm like,
Botox has hit everybody.
well, and it's more than Botox. Like, they've done stuff to their face, like, completely, all these facelifts, and these women are 70 and they look like they're 30. And then these beautiful singers have altered their face to be thin. They all look like they're from the same family or something. It's weird. But it's not. It's really, honestly, it has gotten me to a place to where I don't even want to look at it anymore. Like, I'm like, that is not what I want to look like. That is not who I am. That's not what I want for my children. And it's really off-putting. And I noticed in that even the Gen Zs, like, past, I would say Gen Z and younger, aren't even, well, they're not on Facebook. They maybe are on Instagram, but they're getting turned off by it too, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a true, I've been recently with one of the organizations that I do a lot of work for. I've been tasked with really helping them put their message out there. And I've been doing a lot of research about some of this stuff to do with online. And, Facebook now, whether people choose to believe this or not, has literally turned into a place for more people our age. That's where those
Of
kind of
course.
people hang
Yeah.
out. The young people
Yeah.
have definitely gravitated to Instagram, and many now on over to TikTok. And
Mhm.
some of the things that they're doing with that, you tend to find your business people on LinkedIn. Twitter or X or 10, whatever they want to
Mhm.
call it these days, is really more for, I think they say, even the middle-aged to elderly age men. They seem to love just posting their thoughts and their opinions. But whatever, I think the whole thing is that it's all these platforms that what I think before you even start to think about putting yourself out there, and this is one of the things I've been doing with our company, is what is your message? I mean, what are you really trying? Number one, what are you trying to say? And what is it you're wanting to tell people? And then the second thing is, who do you want your audience to be? This is the questions that I'm constantly asking the company I work for, because you need to know those things. And if you just randomly are posting stuff, I know that there's some terminology they use about, we mentioned this, I think, in the last episode about the fear of missing out. This economy of attention that you're so driven that you're checking constantly, how many likes have I had, how many shares have I had,
Mhm.
how many people are the new people that are trying to follow me. It's just, you're literally, I mean, really, is this what your life has come to? I mean, that's the kind of thing that, like what you're saying about the way people look. I often, when I'm talking to people, think, man, is that, I mean, to me, that is so shallow that that's really what your whole life boils down to.
Yeah, well, it's your persona, what people think of you, and this fake persona that people put out there, they're not real. I mean, I love this series so much because this series is about being real. We don't, and especially in the church world. I mean, where so many people in church have to wear a fake mask, and they
Yes.
bury the shame of all the sin they've done in their life. They pretend like they're perfect. They got the perfect family with the perfect kids and the perfect bow in their hairs, and they go to church and then they go home and it all falls apart, and I'm not saying they're all like that, but, we live in this world where we have to pretend to be something we're not. And when did that happen? Well, can't we just be okay being who we are? You know?
Yeah, did you know, Mandy, that one of the things that professionals say these days is if you could learn to be your authentic self, I'll read you a phrase that they actually wrote, which I find interesting because what we're saying is you've left this zone that they're saying you should be in to try to make yourself into somebody that you're not. And now it's pulling back to the people really want real. They don't
Yes.
want just a specific online person. So just
Mm-mm.
listen to this online statement. It's so powerful. Our true selves are far more intricate and encompass our doubts, fears, struggles, mundane moments, unpolished thoughts, all your vulnerabilities. This is actually the self that is more likely that your close friends and family might see. And it's the moments and times that people are saying, I want to see that about you.
100%, 100%. But no, but not only that, this next move of God, this next generation, they want the authentic God.
Yes. They don't want you
They
talking about it anymore. They want
They
to
don't want
feel it. They
religion,
want to see it.
they don't want you, to tell, that they want to see it, they wanna feel it, they wanna know who is God, and is he
Yes.
real, and let me see the real God. And I'll tell you, even for me, like, even on these episodes, I've had some of the feedback I've gotten, from us and these episodes is, I love how authentic it is, like,
Yeah.
you just are who you are, and people love that. And when I'm around someone that can be vulnerable, and I'm not saying you need to walk around with your feelings on your sleeve all the time and tell everybody all your stuff, but when you're vulnerable enough to be real with people, they will receive you, and they will and usually come around you in a much better way. When you walk around with the mask on your face all the time and pretend to be something you're not, nobody wants to be around that.
Absolutely, and something else, you talk about the younger generation, I'll be honest with you, Mandy, I've got friends that, literally, I have friends who are speakers who are from different countries that are well-known, speakers that travel and do lots of things with women conferences and all, and one in particular that I think about, when I was watching her Instagram, I'm not even lying, Mandy, after a while, I was like, I don't even care where you're going every single day of your life and everything that you're doing. I'm sorry, could you,
What about the
back off of my screen? Yeah, I know I chose to follow you at first, but literally you walk through her life. And one of the things that the professionals are saying now is this digital burnout of how do you keep that up? What I ask myself when I see her constantly on camera? I'm not even lying, Manny. This particular lady, literally all the camera people follow her 24/7 because she wants to document everything that she does. She runs her own clothing line and everything. But the point that I'm making here is that honestly, there has to come a day when you're like, I'm tired of this. How can I keep this up? Eventually, you just burn out because you're living for everybody else, and your family's like, "Hello,
No,
I'd like to
well,
see
and
you
then you
once in a
have your
while."
meltdown on camera. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I
crazy.
don't know if you have any friends like it, but honestly, I literally
Oh,
ended up.
I do have that, but also this one really gets me is when you get all their food. Like, have you seen the ones that
Oh,
wanna post, like, what they had for dinner every
yeah.
night? Like, do I really care what,
I mean, it's great once in a while if, like, I do love taking pictures of food, but it's not really for posting. It's things that it's just like memories of, "Man, that was such a great dinner." So I take a picture, but I don't post everything, like, online of everything I eat. But when you're taking me everywhere you're eating, she literally, this one lady, I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't feel like I'm picking on her. I'm just giving her as an example because there are many like her, and, the he's are in the same boat. But she even procedures. Oh, this is and they zoom in about the procedure she's having done, exactly what you're talking about the Botox and the fixing of the face. I mean,
yeah.
after a while, I think it just you come to the place to where, is how much is this really worth it? Okay, yeah, she has a lot of followers. She gets asked to travel and do a lot of speaking. But for what? I mean, is it because that they think that this is who she is really? Or is that who she is really?
Yeah, and and what I'm hearing from you is, I mean, I see people like that, and I see a lot of people that are famous that really chase that fame, celebrity Christians even, and so I guess my question is, how do we not do that? You know what I mean? Like, because it's hard. Because I mean, if you think about it, here we're raising our children in this culture to where now everything is online. There's really not a social culture anymore. I mean, we don't even have lock-ins at church anymore hardly. You know what I mean? We don't have that social networking in our culture at this moment to where you really you go outside of school to really make friends and to or church, things like that, to where you have these big events where you used to really meet people. Everything is online. Everything is online. And so and especially like for what you and I do, we are online. If you want to reach the community at this point, you have to go to your town square, and your town square for us is social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're wanting to talk to someone, if you're wanting to spread the word, if you're wanting to spread the message, if you're wanting to get out there, you can't just go to the local down the street to the local church anymore, really. You've got to go to the town square, which for us is social media. So how do you do that without getting pulled into it?
I think the first thing is that, they definitely recommend well, actually, it's a true real thing that there's a such thing as a digital detox to where that you literally have to go through these steps of detoxing yourself from living on social media. There is, so many documented cases to where that, what I'm hearing you say, Mandy, when I go out, for example, with Paul for a date night, we choose to make sure our phones are put away so we can actually talk to each other and have conversation. But it is startling to look around. Number one, you see couples, it ends up being to where they don't even know how to talk to each other anymore in person. And you see them both at a beautiful restaurant, nice dinner, and they're both sitting there on their phone showing each other pictures. It's like, really, you can't have a conversation anymore. Same thing we see happen with our, people who take their kids out. Everything is pop the iPad up there where they can watch a movie so that they don't bother you and so that they can be entertained. I mean, I do understand where, there's sometimes where it's needed to help kids, like especially if you're trying to keep them quiet. I understand that. But sometimes it's so much so that it's really more you just want your kids to keep busy because you're busy wanting to do something. And so we just end up making digital
Well,
media a babysitter, which started with a television, but now it goes with you everywhere.
mhm.
So, they talk about you lose your self-worth, you begin to drop your values down, some of your achievements and everything is just focused on, I need to reach my people. I can't be disconnected from my people. I need to be able to talk to them at all times. So, I mean, I know after COVID especially, how present are you really at a table when you're having a meal with people? How present are you really when you go to an event? Can you actually sit through a service without being on your phone, without making sure you didn't miss the late, you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
many areas when it
So
comes to
when
that.
it so and it is, and it's a culture we're in, and I do understand that, like, even in society right now, you're talking about the iPad kind of being the babysitter, which unfortunately we've kind of gotten to that. But and I also, like, I know with my kids now, my youngest is 16 now, but even when she was 5, 6, I couldn't let her go outside and play by herself, or what I mean, like, and if you're working, so like, we have a culture where parents are afraid for their children to be left alone, afraid for kids to go to daycare, afraid for them to play outside like we used to play outside.
Right.
So now they're on video games, they're on social media, they're on the phones, on tablets. Um, so I guess, this whole episode is, if that's where we're at, then what is influencing us, and who are we? What is our identity? Who are we in this culture of that, and how do we navigate that if that's where we're at in society and still be healthy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, one of the things they first tell, people with problems, especially with this online person and their real self in person, is start getting out there and build yourself some connections that are in person. Like, get out there and start cultivating some friendships and some relationships. I mean, for example, Mandy, you and I were in 2 different countries,
Mhm.
and we still try to stay connected. But you and I both know that there was nothing like when we saw each other. It's been so amazing being able to go out and just sit at a table and talk face to
We had the
face.
best Mexican food yesterday, y'all.
For
Let me
real.
just tell y'all, if you have not had Tex-Mex in Texas,
Yeah.
you are missing it.
Wherever you live, you need to fly to Texas and get here and try some Tex-Mex food for real. But, it's just one of those things to where that, even for me yesterday, I was like, man, because I do a lot of work that, that's another thing that does happen after COVID. There was a lot of remote work. I do a lot of remote
Yeah,
work, and that's just because it affords me to be able to work and be able to be overseas and do the missionary work that we want to do,
right.
which I'm very grateful for. But I try to find a healthy balance, because if you're not careful, you have to spend a lot of time online doing the work. But then when you go out, you do have to have boundaries of disconnect times to where you say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm off bounds. I'm out of, what am I trying to say? I have limits of, I'm off the grid now after 7 o'clock or whatever. I'm going to be with my family, or I'm going to be with my husband or wife, and I'm going to do things with them, and I'm going to be present. And I think this is the whole thing that,
I think boundaries are important. I think that that's the key word because we can't not live in the society that's around us. We've got to be able to
right.
be the light in the darkness, honestly. And what if that's where the mainstream is, we have to be the light in that stream. But there has to be boundaries of protection. I know, like with my daughter, my 16-year-old, I noticed when she was around 13 that we started having some struggles in this category with self-esteem, with identity, with seeing some things online that were influencing her thoughts on who she was as a child of
Wow.
God, of what she liked. She all things that she never even liked before. All of a sudden, she thought she liked because she's seeing it online. And I had to make some decisions as a parent, as far as her maturity level of what she could handle and what she couldn't handle. And we ended up removing all social media from her. We took our phone away, and we gave her. They had I don't remember what the phone's called now, but it was a Samsung phone, and it was for children. It was Gab. It was called Gab Wireless or something like that.
I think I remember
Yeah.
hearing about that.
Yeah, so we did that phone, so she still had connection and she still could text and call, but there was no, social media, no internet, and let me tell you, we did that for 3 years. We just at 16 gave her the regular phone back. It changed everything. It took about 6 months to a year for me to really see it, but, like, her thought process went back to being who she normal. Her normal for her. I mean, like, what the things she liked, the way she would talk, the way that she would do. She was her relationship with the Lord shifted back. I mean, a lot of things just shifted back, all because we removed that one thing from her life that was like feeding who her identity, like what she thought she should be based on these images she was seeing online. And you can try to filter, you can try to protect, you can put all the restrictions on there, but they still get in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I read when I was doing research on this is, I think you mentioned this a while ago, the decline of community spaces. So, you know what? I mean, think about this, Mandy. When you talk about physical spaces that are outside home and work, for example, community centers. There used
Yeah,
to be places like community centers, local clubs, libraries, parks, places where you could have social interaction, hang out with people, be able to get outside of, again, like, only talking and building relationships with people who are online and who are on a screen. And so, we're not by any means, I mean, we're asking you to watch us, so it'd be a bit foolish for us to be telling you you shouldn't be online. That is not our goal here, that at all. Our goal is, in all of this, find a balance.
yeah,
What's the balance of your online persona has not beat out your actual persona,
yeah,
and your relationships find a healthy boundary, the fact that you not only have people online, but you have people that you also hang out with in person. And, I mean, Mandy, we used to invite people over to each other's houses and
Oh,
have
no.
dinners together, play games together. I mean, does
No,
that even happen
not
anymore?
often, and, like, look, how many times in today's society, if someone comes knocks on your door, you're like, "Turn the lights off."
I know.
"Don't answer it. Don't move. Nobody say a word. Don't act like we're home."
Why is that person here? They
Yeah.
didn't tell me they were
Yeah.
coming. I mean, even your
Yeah.
family sometimes you're like, you didn't tell me you were coming over today." It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I had to tell you I was coming today."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, obviously my dad came from the era where you just walked in. But don't be doing that to anybody's house, please. But and I think also, one of the things they mention is just your authentic self. Get back
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
it. They do talk about the fact that it is very important to be vulnerable. One of the things that my girl that does my social media stressed to me is, believe it or not, why now, they do want to see the realness of you. They want to see
Yeah.
the side of you that what are the struggles you're facing? What are some of the things that you get up in the morning and you just feel like, oh, it's not a day that I really want to face today, or I had to do this, or I had to do that. And so when people start to see that, it builds intimacy. It reinforces that this is a natural side of life. It is going to happen. I mean, even as Christians, we need to stop making people feel like that it is such a perfect life that nothing is ever going to go wrong. Because if that's the case, then you know what they usually say. Well, probably there's something you're not doing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when the enemy is there,
No, yeah.
you are doing
If you're
something
not if
right.
yeah, absolutely. If the enemy's leaving you alone, then it's because he don't have anything to mess with you about.
Ex-
You're not a danger to him, so he'll
exactly.
leave you alone. Now I will say though, with that statement, that I really believe that the Lord you can fly above the fray. You can fly above all that with the Holy Spirit and with the Lord. So even though there's still struggles around you, they don't have to affect you. You can be above that. But
I mean, all I wanted to make sure they understood is that, it's not a case of where you're just gonna live with no trials or things
Mhm.
that you're gonna face, but certainly you don't have to live and act like that there's never, a
No, it's
problem or
real
things
life.
that you have to
No.
face,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
that's a whole episode. I mean, the whole series we have is real. And if you've seen our last season, we've talked about some really, really tough topics that are really involving people in the church. And it's because you need to be real. You need to be vulnerable. You need to be who you are. And if you're trying to pretend to look a certain way, to take the best picture, to take all this just for a persona that's online, is that really who you are? And is that really what you want people to know about you? And do you really know who you are? So I guess, honestly, my question is, do you know who you really are? And who are you in Christ?
Yeah.
And how does that look to the people around you? Are you showing people around you who you are in Christ on a daily basis? And even with us, as we are online a lot, and we have a lot of I actually have pulled all my family's pictures and stuff. Well, not all of them. There's still a few out there, but I put a few up on holidays and stuff. But I pulled a lot of stuff down in my family and just focused on the ministry, because I really wanted people to see that. I really wanted to promote what the Lord was building with that, without making my children a target.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
for
and
sure.
I don't want them, because, not everybody agrees with the Christianity. Sometimes you get hate mail, sometimes you get, like, I know one time we posted something, for an academy we were doing, and, yeah, they call them swarms. So sometimes you'll be on a feed, you'll get on a feed and you're posting something on the supernatural, you're posting on the academy we're doing something about dreams, and I got swarmed. I probably got 200 or more, messages from witches and the demonic. I mean, I don't know how I got on their feed. I don't know how I got in that section. I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know what happened, but they saw me and it
You
was like,
definitely
yeah.
opened up a swarm of
Well,
bees,
but
didn't
that's
you?
how you know that's a compliment from hell. That's what you were talking about a while ago. You
Yeah.
know, that's how you know that you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Like, okay, God, those are the people we want to reach. That's fine. They can
Yeah.
swarm me. Those are the people I want to reach, you know? And so, but with that too, I don't want my kids out there, you know, where they're being targeted for that. So I have to be careful about what I put on social media. You got to build it in a way that communicates properly to the community around you, but that still protects your family, you know?
Yeah.
You don't
And
want you've gotta protect your family from online. Isn't that
yes,
horrible?
I know, it's true. I think more than anything, just as we wrap this episode up, I think the main thing is, first of all, figure out who your authentic self is and, assess what you do on a social media. Look at your social media, you know, judge it yourself and see, are you being real? Are you trying to be a somebody that you're not? And above all, be present with your family, friends, especially your husband, your wife, your children. It's so important to, of course, like Mandy said, both she and I do so much work online, and it helps bring the money in. Like I said, for us to do the missionary work that we do, but it doesn't mean that it has to all get so off balance that I don't have time to be with my family and do things with them.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can almost, I don't want to open up another topic here, but sometimes you can almost get to the place to where that you dread going out because you love being online so much, talking to other
Yeah,
people, and so you
yeah.
almost lose that real connection of just enjoying going out. And that's one of the things I said a while ago when you and I were out yesterday. Literally, we did what girls do. We went out and ate. We went shopping. We went and got an ice cream, telling on ourselves now. Talk about being real.
Yeah, we did. We had ice cream and Mexican food yesterday.
All in one
It
hit.
was so good
And then
too.
we had the audacity to go shopping, didn't we, to buy
Yeah,
a few clothes. But it's what girls do, isn't it? And it was almost for me, it was very relaxing, very fun. It was like, man, it's such a nice change to not
yeah.
have to be typing and making sure you're getting messages in. Of course, we came home and had to pick up on some work, but just find a balance. I think that's more than anything that's important.
Yeah, and your identity. Just don't get wrapped up into that whole online of trying to need to look a certain way. Just be who you are. You're beautiful just the way you are. You're amazing just the way you are. I heard that I'll finish with this. I heard one of our teachers recently say, one of the teachers that but he said that you are your best worship, like you worship God by being who you are. Just like the elephant's worship to God is like being the elephant. The tiger worships God by being the tiger. Wynell worships God by being Wynell.
Right.
And Mandy worships by being Mandy. But if we're trying to be something we're not, that is not glorifying God. That is not
Yeah,
worship of the Father. The Father created us. He knows our imperfections. He created us. And so we just be
absolutely.
who we are. And then in that, you will glorify the Lord, and honestly, you'll probably go much further than you would have ever gone trying to pretend to be somebody else.
Absolutely.